comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel the ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Welcome to my new studio, and it seems fitting that the first song I do here is the most requested song on the song request board over at justinguitar.com/songs. If you want to request another song yourself, it is Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. Now, I've actually attempted to teach this song once before, but I gave up because I found it incredibly difficult to teach. It's one of those ones where it's not that hard to play, but it's quite hard to explain, and it can be a little bit awkward if you're not used to doing what I call picked finger style. That is kind of strumming while picking out individual strings, but still trying to go for that strumming action. So the actual tune itself is only a few chunks. We're going to start by just looking at the chords, the real basic chords. So if you wanted to just strum it and ignore all of the fancy finger picking, you could do it that way and you'd be able to play it and sing along. Nice thing to be able to learn first of all. Make sure you get your fingers in the right spots and all of that. But the real challenge with this one is all about the picking hand. It's learning to pick out the melody while continuing to have that kind of strumming feeling. You're trying to get some bass notes in. There's a lot of subtle things going on with the dynamics about what notes are played hard and soft. Now, if I try to go into that level of detail, it'll be really, really difficult for me to explain and difficult for you to learn as well. So what I'm going to do is explain which are the target notes, the technique of the continuous strumming thing, and then you're going to have to do a little bit of experimenting on your own with the song to actually really get it nailed down like the record. You want to be listening to the original recording, trying to suss out a little bit like when I'm playing it, how is it different to that recording and what can I do to get it a little bit closer. But to be honest, especially if you're playing it on your own, the level of minutiae you want to take it to is completely your choice. You should be able to play the song with a little bit of your own interpretation to it anyway. So let's get started with the chords. Make sure you get hip with the chord grips first of all, and then we're going to go into a lot of detail with the pick and hand. First thing you're going to need to know is that you're in standard tuning with a capo at the 7th fret, okay? Really, really important. If you don't get that right, it's never going to work quite right for you. So the basic chords, most of the main riff is based around this D chord. You see we get a lot of mileage just with the D and lifting off second finger. That's about all there is to it. The rest of it is picking. Now we got a G chord. Now this is an interesting G because I'm playing the thicker string with my second finger. I'm muting the fifth string, and the fleshy part of my second finger can also mute the thinner string as well. So I often don't need to play the thinner string either, which helps bring out that B note as the melody, which is something that we want sometimes. We quite often do this, so we want the B as the highest note. Third finger's going down on this D note, and then we might lift the finger up to get the thinner string. Okay, which that's technically, I guess, a G6 chord, but we're not really, it's a G chord. And then we're trying to get some melody going on. And then we've got an A7. Little finger goes down sometimes to get this little sus. So you can see there the verses. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Does the same thing again. Little darling, it seems like years since we've been here. Almost the same. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. Now we've got an E7, but we want little finger down. I'm calling this the 3rd fret. It isn't really, it's the 10th fret. It's 3 frets above the capo. So any time in this video, if I talk about the 3rd fret, I mean 3 frets above the capo every time, okay? So it's an E chord, regular E, with a little finger through on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Okay, an E7. So you could play E7 like that as well, but that's a different sound in this song. You want that melody note. And then D, it's alright. And then we got this little, which I'm kind of hearing as a G chord. Okay, I will teach you the riff again as well, but if you just wanted to strum, you could be doing a G chord there and it would kind of sound okay. So let's go through all of that, the verse and the chorus, because that is all you need really, except for the bridge. A whole different thing going on there. So let's strum through and name the chords as we go along. So starting on a D. Little darling, it's been a G chord, lonely A7. D. Little darling, it seems like G since it's been A7. D. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. G. Here comes the E7 and I say D. It's alright. And then it's variations of that, except for the bridge. As I mentioned a couple of times, the bridge is a little bit different. It's got some funky stuff going on with the timing. It's not that tricky, but it is a little bit on the awkward side. The picking isn't super easy either, so we'll address that as a separate thing. If you're playing it on your own and you want a simplified version, you're probably going to just leave that part out, which I know is maybe not ideal, or you can have a go at simplifying it. We see this is strumming. This bit feels more like picking. But all that main riff is very much this strumming feeling. So what I'm going to suggest to you is that you start by just looking at the melody like this. Just that much on the D chord. So we learn the melody. So we start with a down pick on the 4th string, down pick on the thinner string, up pick on the 2nd string, then we lift off 2nd finger and down pick on the thinner string, put 2nd finger back down, pick an up pick on the thinner string, and then an up pick on the second string. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Just see if you can get that much. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Try and feel like it's strumming. You see my hand is actually moving a lot more. It's not this. It's not that. You don't want to be kind of grabbing at the strings when you're doing the pick motions. It wants to feel bigger movements. 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Then we've got down, up on the thinner string with the up pick lifting off the second finger. And then open B, and then we're going to hit that G bass note. Now I hit an extra D in there, just force of habit. Doing it this slowly is actually really challenging, and it's one of those things where if you're practicing properly, you're going to train your hand not to stop moving. So trying to do it like this, where you're picking the notes out individually and think about it, it's actually pretty difficult. If you're learning it this way, try to remember that you're going for the strumming feeling all the time. So if you accidentally hit another note, so long as you've got the strumming motion solid and your arm is moving down and up at the right times, it's okay. I wouldn't beat yourself up about accidentally picking a wrong string or a wrong note. I wouldn't let that put you off, because the key thing is picking the notes individually while your hand is going. If you pick an extra one or you miss one, it really doesn't matter at all. Like, I'm sure when I'm doing like a proper cover of this tune, I've made lots of mistakes. I didn't pick exactly the right strings all the time, but it doesn't really make a big difference. Okay? Key thing is trying to get used to the strumming thing and being able to accent some of those melody notes. So again, that on the D chord, so a big string of upstrokes there. So down on the G, then second string, thinner string with nothing on, so that's third fingers down on the third fret of the second string, third finger on the fretting hand. Bass. Now there's actually on the A. Now this is a tricky one because you can't go, because that first chord, and again, that's a really good technique to learn. So it's an A7 chord, but we're going to do one big down strum, but stop on the B. So the pick is left resting on the thinnest D string. So there, lift off third finger, open string, down, up with little finger going down on the third fret, and then down on the thinner string. Again, you could practice that nice and slow. That's what you're going for, is this. See, I just did it wrong, doesn't matter. What I'm going for is that strumming feeling. See how I'm going? This is what I think you should practice. The actual one, he really targets that bass note on the beat a bit, so you end up. So you really kind of feel that driving thing there, but you've got to start with getting used to the feeling that it's a strum. Then relaxing it. That's how it grows, and it's going to do the same on the D chord. While we looked up so far, so we had okay. If you start to loosen it up, so that first one, I'm doing one of those bass note. Instead of just picking it by itself, I'm going. Doing a down strum. 1, 2. here I'm accenting the bass again. Okay, this time we got a variation there on the G. It's this little G major 7. So first thing is going down the 2nd fret of the thinner string. And then open, 3rd finger, 3rd fret on the 2nd string. A, little climb, using the sus. D, here comes the sun. Okay, again. That's but making sure we keep that movement. Down, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, up. Here comes the sun, da, da, da. That's the start. Down, down, up, 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 down, up, down, up. Then we have almost the same here, the major 7, down, down, up, E7. Now I always tend to go, but after listening to it, I think George is just strumming it. So I tend to add an accent, which I probably shouldn't when I play it. I don't know where that came from, but you don't need to. Just strum on there. It's alright. Thinner string with the 2nd finger off, and then playing the 2nd string. Or now we've got this little. So 3rd finger needs to go slip all the way back to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Slides up to the 4th, then 3rd fret, then open thinner string. 1st finger replaces 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Lifts off, then the same pattern. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, 2nd fret, that's 2nd string. Down, up, down, up. Up, slide, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. I've got a feeling actually, I think I heard just recently on the record when I was doing a deep listening, it might be 3rd fret, 2nd fret, flick off, and then 4th fret, 2nd, rather. I'm picking all of that. Might be hammer-ons. You can choose. I don't think it makes a huge difference. Just a little bit in the feeling of it. I don't know. I need to watch a video of George do it. You can choose. I don't know which one it is. They both sound more or less the same. Anyway. Climb up maybe, or not. The very first time it doesn't do that little climb up on the A. Now I'm hoping that you're getting here that the easiest approach for a song like this is to know the notes that you definitely need to play, those melody notes, the key important notes, and making sure that you use the correct down and up strums, because if you get the down or up strums, or down or up picks, in the wrong order, then trying to strum it is always going to feel a little bit weird. So that's The most important thing learning a tune like this is getting that feeling of the strumming and making sure that you play right, whether it's a down or an up, depending on what beat in the bar. Of course, going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's how it's working all the way through. If a note's on the beat, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 or 4. It's going to be a down. If it's on an and, it's going to be an up. That's how it's going to work all of the way through the tune. Possible exception in the bridge, because you might find a different fingering easier, or you might not. It's kind of a little bit. I don't know. They both feel a little bit awkward to me. So I guess you get to choose which one. So I would recommend breaking it down into each little section. Start off with the very first part, just like the intro. And it's useful, again, just listening to the original recording a few times, making sure that you got the rhythm of it right, and just trying to get with a... I always sing it in my head too, even though that's just instrumental. I'm definitely singing... Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. I'm trying to imagine that melody when I'm playing it. It'll definitely, if you plan on singing it as well, or somebody else is singing it, it'll help you get the tempo right if you sing it along. So I'd just start off with that very first little bit. Get that right first of all. Then maybe have a go at the second part. Okay, there's just a variation there. Back to D. Okay, doo-doo-doo-doo. Just singing the doo-doo-doo-doo with while you're playing. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. It's alright. Make sure you get... That's where it slides to is on the beat. Alright. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, you don't have to be aware of the count. In a song like this, most of us are going to be very familiar with how it sounds, or at least we think we are. A really good thing to be doing is listening to the original recording at least 10 times in a row before you start trying to learn the tune. Okay, I think that's a really big deal, because it really gets the sound of the song in your ear, because you'd be amazed how often we think we know how a song goes, but when you actually go to listen, it's like, oh, hang on, that's a little different to what I thought. I had that with this song. It was only when I started kind of examining it for teaching, I was like, oh, it does it that way. Or, you know, there are things that you notice like that when you just listen. You don't play along, you just listen. Sometimes I play along with my hands there, but I don't strum the strings, but I play along with the original recording. That seems to be a good way to notice if I'm getting something wrong, because the sound I'd imagine it come out of the guitar is different to what I'm hearing on the record. So you might find that a useful tip. So now we're going to go into a little bit more of the minutiae here about things to notice about the song if you want to play it, like the arrangement parts of it. So the intro is the same as the melody, so you want to sing in your head, little darling. There's the pause, then it's coming into the chorus. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. It's alright. Now this time, little darling, it's straight into the verse at that point. Winter, little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Now we've got the bit going to the E7. Here comes the E7 and I say, it's alright. The riff. This time it goes D and then the A with the little sus, A. Just strumming. Next verse. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Just the same as the first verse. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say, it's alright. is you could write it lots of different ways, and I've seen lots of explanations of the count, and because it does kind of go into a feeling of three, da ba da da ba da da ba da da ba da. But if you get into the trap of feeling that as the pulse, I feel like you lose the beat. And most people, like non-musicians, wouldn't realize that there was an odd time there because it doesn't feel awkward. It feels smooth because you can still feel the beat. So let's start off on the D. So 1, 2, 3, 4, A7, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1. So I'm kind of feeling it now as like a bar of 4/4 and then a bar of 5/4. But you could name it lots of different ways if you want to get all technical about where the pulse is falling. But I feel like that's a nice easy way to count it. So that's what I'm going with. So we're starting on the 3 and 4 and 1 and. So 3 and 4 is an A triad. Open 5th string, 4 frets above the capo. 2 frets above the capo on the 4th string. That's an A major triad. Then we're going to play an F. That's 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret on strings 4, 3 and 2. Then a C triad. That's 3rd fret, 2nd fret open on strings 5, 4 and 3. Then we've got a G with a B bass. 2nd fret open, open, still strings 5, 4 and 3. And then we've got 3rd fret and 2nd fret on the thicker string, 4th string, and then we play the D, which is kind of, you could think of it as part of that G triad, but that's really the D is beat 1 of our D chord. So if I do it real slowly, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1. Yeah, 1. So like that. And then that A7 is coming on the offbeat as well, a little bit weird. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, Now it actually does it 6 times, which is also a little bit weird. Most of us are used to feeling groups of 4, so I kind of feel it to 4 and then I go, oh yeah, there's another 2, is how I try and remember it if I'm singing it, although sometimes I do only 5 when I've been practicing. I noticed that happened a few times. What's interesting here is that when we go back to the A, the last time we do this little build, so we have the D, A, so 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. So it's there, A7, accenting that little climb to the sus. Now we're just targeting the thinner string. Now little fingers going down 3rd fret thinner string. Slowly melting, little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Coming up to the end, the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say, it's alright, Riff. Here comes the sun. Straight back into that part. Here comes the E again, and I say, it's alright, Riff. then we go straight into that bridgey F. So starting on the F, we don't have the A, we just F, C, G, D. And that's the whole tune. Okay, so how are you feeling about that then? There's a lot to get on with this tune. A lot of things to do, a lot of things to think about, and there's a lot more subtle things that we haven't even started on, like the dynamics and how often you play the bass note and all of that sort of stuff. And there's a certain level of minutiae that you can get into once you can get the basics right first. But if you start worrying about that stuff too early, it'll just make it next to impossible for you to be able to play the tune at all. So I would strongly recommend that you don't beat yourself up and don't feel like you're not going to be able to do it initially. It is going to have a pretty steep learning curve, especially if you've never done any of this picking notes individually while you're strumming. Even if you've done a bit of this kind of, or whatever, where you've targeted individual notes, or any of those things where you're picking out individual notes will have helped, and this will definitely help you if you nail this tune. All of those other ones in a similar kind of genre are definitely going to feel a lot easier. But there is a steep learning curve if you're new to it, so don't freak out if you find it very difficult. Start by just really targeting the feeling of the strumming. That's the key thing here. So if you get it wrong and you go, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You'll be able to sing it and play along. If you sing it and play it, it'll probably help you as well, because you'll make sure that you get the accents and the feeling. You'll feel where those the melodic elements to the picking come. So I definitely recommend, kind of, if you don't feel confident singing, maybe kind of like mumbling along would be a really good thing to do if you don't feel confident as a singer. So take it slowly, don't beat yourself up, stick with it. Remember, it is going to take some practice. This stuff, tunes like this don't come for free. You have to put in a little bit of effort here if you're going to get the reward. So take it slow, work on making sure you get the feeling of the strumming, trying to get that melody, do it one section at a time. So just start off with that little intro bit, I'd recommend, right before you even attempt to play through the whole song. Just getting the... That's enough. Just work on that. See if you can get that down and get that under your fingers. If you get hip with that, learning the rest of the song is going to be relatively simple. Whereas if you're continually battling with trying to remember where you are in the song as well as the technical stuff, it's going to make it a lot harder. So by working on just one section, you give yourself a chance to think about the technical things, the picking individual strings out. And it's one of those things as well, I kind of feel like your pick develops eyes after a little while. I know that sounds really stupid, right? Your hand doesn't have any eyes in it, but you get a feeling for where it is. I do find that I'd rest my little finger on the fretboard a bit. It moves around. It's not a solid anchor, but just having it there seems to help with finding my bearings of the pick. That might work for you. Some people really don't. That doesn't work for them, and that's fine too. A lot of this stuff is trying to figure out your own playing technique and your own style and what feels comfortable for you. There's not necessarily one way that's better than the other, but I do feel like having an anchor might help with getting the picking right on a tune like this. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really love playing this song. It's one of those ones where I've played it wrongly for a long time, most of my life, in fact. I've battled through it and never really done it properly, so I kind of appreciate the fact that you guys voted this as the next song that I should teach, because it's really made me do it properly, and I really enjoy playing it now. Just before doing this lesson, I played it a bunch of times, and I just enjoyed it. I just played it because it's so much fun to play, and I really hope that you get to experience that feeling as well, because it's amazing. So hope this finds you safe and well, and exiting lockdown, and everyone around you has been safe and happy, and maybe one good thing might have come out of lockdown, that's that you got a bit more time to practice the guitar. So look, wishing you all of the best. I'll see you for plenty more lessons very soon. You'll take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.